What if one decision could change your life forever? Imagine standing at a crossroads, where the choice you make could either lead to unimaginable success or heartbreaking failure. This is the story of a farmer who faced that exact moment, and his decision will leave you speechless. Meet Ramesh, a humble farmer from a small village in India. Life was simple but tough for Ramesh. He worked hard every day, but no matter how much he toiled, his fields never yielded enough. One day, a mysterious traveler arrived in the village, offering Ramesh a choice that would test his courage and faith. What happened next is a lesson for all of us. Ramesh lived in a tiny village surrounded by lush green fields. The village was known for its fertile soil and abundant harvests. Farmers worked hard, and their fields rewarded them with golden wheat, juicy vegetables, and fruits that seemed to glow in the sunlight. But Ramesh's land was different. His field was dry, cracked, and lifeless. No matter how much he watered it, no matter how much he toiled under the scorching sun, the crops refused to grow. His neighbors would often pass by, shaking their heads and muttering, "That land is cursed, nothing will ever grow there." They even gave it a name, the Cursed Land. But Ramesh never stopped trying. He believed, deep in his heart, that one day his hard work would pay off. He didn't know how or when, but he held on to that hope. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, a stranger arrived in the village. He was unlike anyone the villagers had ever seen. He wore a long flowing cloak that seemed to shimmer in the fading light, and he carried a small bag slung over his shoulder. The villagers gathered around him, curious about this mysterious traveler. The stranger stood quietly for a moment, then reached into his bag and pulled out a handful of seeds. They were unlike any seeds the villagers had ever seen. They glowed faintly, as if they carried a secret within them. The stranger spoke in a calm, steady voice. "These are magical seeds," he said. "If you plant them, they will grow into the most bountiful crops you have ever seen. But there is one condition: you must plant them in your worst field, the one that has never yielded anything. And you must trust that they will grow, even when it seems impossible." The villagers exchanged skeptical glances. "Magical seeds?" one of them muttered. "Who has ever heard of such a thing?" Another laughed and said, "Why would anyone waste good seeds on bad land? It's foolish." The crowd began to disperse, shaking their heads and chuckling at the stranger's strange offer. But Ramesh stayed behind. He looked at the seeds, then at the stranger, and finally at his barren field. Something inside him stirred. He stepped forward and said, "I'll take them." The stranger's eyes softened, and he handed the seeds to Ramesh. "Plant them tonight," he whispered, "and do not look back. Trust the process, no matter what happens." Ramesh nodded, clutching the seeds tightly in his hand. He felt a strange sense of calm, as if he had just made the most important decision of his life. That night, under the light of the full moon, Ramesh walked to his barren field. The village was quiet, and the only sound was the gentle rustling of the wind. He knelt on the dry, cracked soil and began to plant the seeds, one by one. As he worked, he whispered a prayer, asking for strength and faith. When he was done, he watered the seeds and stood back, looking at the field. It looked the same as it always had, dry, lifeless, and hopeless. But Ramesh remembered the stranger's words. "Do not look back. Trust the process." Days turned into weeks, and nothing happened. The field remained barren, and the villagers continued to mock Ramesh. "We told you it was a waste of time," they said. "You should have listened to us. That land is cursed, and nothing will ever grow there." But Ramesh refused to give up. Every morning, he would go to the field and water the seeds. Every evening, he would stand at the edge of the field and whisper his prayer. He didn't know why, but he felt a strange sense of hope growing inside him. Then, one morning, as the first rays of sunlight touched the field, Ramesh saw something that made his heart skip a beat. Tiny green shoots had sprouted from the ground. They were small and fragile, but they were there. Ramesh fell to his knees, tears streaming down his face. He couldn't believe it. The seeds had worked. Over the next few weeks, the plants grew taller and stronger than anyone had ever seen. The crops were so abundant that Ramesh's field became the talk of the village. People came from far and wide to see the miraculous harvest. The once barren land was now filled with golden wheat, ripe vegetables, and fruits that seemed to glow in the sunlight. One day, the stranger returned. He stood at the edge of the field, watching as Ramesh worked. Ramesh looked up and saw him. He ran over, his face filled with gratitude. "Thank you," he said. "Thank you for giving me these seeds. They have changed my life. The stranger smiled. Do you know why the seeds worked for you? He asked. Ramesh shook his head. Because you had the courage to believe in the impossible, the stranger said. You trusted the process, even when everyone else doubted you. That is the true magic. Ramesh's story spread far and wide, inspiring people in villages and towns across the land. They would tell his story to their children, reminding them that success often comes to those who dare to take risks and believe in the unseen. It's easy to follow the crowd and play it safe, but true greatness lies in trusting yourself and taking that leap of faith. The seeds of success are planted in the soil of courage and perseverance. And sometimes, all it takes is one bold choice to change your life forever. If Ramesh's story inspired you, take a moment to reflect on your own life. What's one risk you've been afraid to take? Share this story with someone who needs a little courage today, and let's remind each other that the best things in life often start with a single, bold choice. Ramesh's story teaches us that success often comes to those who dare to take risks and believe in the unseen. It's easy to follow the crowd and play it safe, but true greatness lies in trusting yourself and taking that leap of faith. Remember, the seeds of success are planted in the soil of courage and perseverance. If Ramesh's story inspired you, take a moment to reflect on your own life. What's one risk you've been afraid to take? Share this video with someone who needs a little courage today, and let's remind each other that the best things in life often start with a single bold choice.